Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at this USB turntable. So I was at my local Goodwill the other week, and I saw this on the shelf, and it was like $5. And I thought I should just buy it and play around with it, see if it works. Now, my history with things like this coming from Goodwill is that they're almost always non-functional. So I suspect it's probably going to be broken, possibly in multiple ways. So we want to see if we can fix this, and then see if we can actually convert a record to an MP3. So looking at the MacBook that they have on here, I think this actually might be an iBook. It's got DVI out. So this is a fairly old device. So in 2025, there's probably no point in this thing existing. So either you've already converted your vinyl collection through something like this, or you've repurchased it on CDs, or you're a vinyl aficionado and you don't want to digitize your vinyls. You want to listen to them as they sound. So this is definitely something that was big when MP3 started becoming mainstream and you had a vinyl collection and you wanted to continue to listen to it on your iPod or on your Zune. So something like this would have been really cool to have, 20 years ago if you had a vinyl collection. But today, not a lot of use for something like this. But I still thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted to ideally get it working. So I did open it in the store just to take a look and see if the needle is there and all the parts are there. And I did notice that it definitely was broken. So the lid isn't attached, and something inside, probably the drive belt or some mechanism, is, you can hear it when you shake it. In the event that we do get it working, I also wanted to be able to demonstrate some of the things we could get off of it. Now, I don't want to use anything that will get me a copyright strike, so I picked up these two from Goodwill as well. Hopefully nobody is going to be chasing the copyrights down on these particular recordings, but I guess we'll find out. So let's dive into it. Let's get this thing out of the box and see what we've got. All right, so like I said, I did take this apart. Well, not apart, but I did take it out of the box in the store just to see what we had. Oh, and on the box here, note that it says it comes with software, the USB cable, and his built-in speakers. Well, in the box, we have a USB cable, we have a power adapter, and we have the software, as well as a user guide. So, amazing. Whoever had this put everything back together and put it back in the plastic and everything, so that's kind of cool. So the part number, model number is VS2002SPK. So Vibe Sound, I guess, VS 2002, maybe the year they made it, and SPK speakers. Not sure. I don't see a copyright date on the instruction manual here, but I do see screenshots from Windows 95. It looks like maybe it's 98. They're using Audacity. Interesting. I'm sure that's not included on the CD. But okay, let's continue unboxing. Maybe we'll need the manual, maybe we won't. So we got the software here on one of these mini CDs. It's pretty cool. And a power adapter, 120 volt to USB. So apparently you can use this standalone. You don't have to have it plugged into your computer. And judging by the fact that this USB cable was never opened, I'm guessing that's how this person had previously used it. So we've got our foam packaging. And then we have the device itself. Alright, so the two things I noted at the store, this lid is broken. Obviously needs to be reattached. Just a quick inspection, there are two pegs for hinges. They're not broken, that looks fine. And then there's this strange thing here that looks like it presses down into something on this side. But I'm not quite sure what that is for or if that's even important. This might just be something to keep this from swinging all the way back when you open it. It might just be like a spring. Inside the hole here is this other black piece of plastic with a spring on it. So I think this is just supposed to be a stop, but I am not sure if it's electrically connected where you can't play it if it's open. We'll hopefully find out. All right, so problem number one, this isn't connected. Hopefully not a big deal. I did notice that if I take the needle cover off here, we do actually have a good needle, it looks like. Obviously you can't be sure that it's a good needle until you try it, but it being covered, probably a good sign. And then yeah, that's probably a much worse problem. So I noticed on the back here there are a couple of screws. This one has been loosened and not even finger tight, it's just completely loose. So I suspect this is how this device is held in here, or held together rather. So let's take these two screws out, see what the inside looks like. Now again, I have not gone this far in taking this thing apart, so I got no idea what to expect when we open it. Could be maybe somebody's got stacks of $100 bills in here they stashed to hide from the police. Alright, so I think this end lifts up here, and then it slides out. Yes. Alright. Well, here's what we have. A speaker that's floating around loose and has come disconnected from the plug here. Okay, well that's not terrible. That's something we can easily fix. I'll set this down and show it to you. I'll just pull the speaker out. So here's the speaker. It's got a fairly large magnet on it, which is surprising, but it's just a tiny little speaker, so I bet it doesn't sound great. And then inside, let's see if I can hold this up. Inside there's just chunks of hot glue that were holding things together. Here's where the speaker was. Here's the wires that were connected to it. And then here's the front, I presume, volume control for those speakers. Little IC, a couple of capacitors, and the potentiometer. So that's actually probably a pretty good sign. I was assuming it was going to be like a drive belt or something in the drive mechanism that was broken. This seemed much more likely to be the problem, but if it's not that, it's probably good. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at the bottom of this thing too to see if it's electrically connected. And it does not appear to be, so I think that's good. Alright, so we should be able to run this if this works without the top being closed or even on. So let's reinsert this into here. Click that down. Let's open up that USB cable. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Windows 10 is probably not supported, which is what I'm running here on my computer. Windows 10 is still in support until October of this year. I don't have any plans to upgrade to Windows 11 until I have to. My other computer over here is running Windows 11, so I'm not a complete Luddite. Alright, let's plug in USB here. We're good, we get an indicator light. That's nice. So let's pick up the needle. Oh, somebody has twist-tied the needle down. That is super cool, so it wasn't flopping around in the box. Very smart idea. Let's pick this up. It's got a little latching mechanism on its own anyway. Pick this up and move it over. The turntable does spin. That's good. Alright, let's pop one of these records on. So I noticed on the back here, I guess I didn't show you, but I can show you. On the back we have a couple of ports, the USB port for power and data, I presume. We've got a 33 and 45 selector and 2 audio out channels. Then on the front we have where the speakers are. We have the, gee, my terminology is failing you here. The thing you put in the little records because they have the bigger hole to make it, be able to fit on here. Somebody in the comments, please tell me what that's called because I don't remember. All right, let's pop out the Chicago Symphony playing Brahms Concerto No. 2. We'll take the needle cover off. All right, well, remember with just the one speaker, we are actually getting sound, so that's good. Yeah, the sound quality, probably not translating. I've got my fish tank here too, with the bubbler going, so probably can't hear it super well. Which is probably good for any sort of YouTube copyright strikes, but seems pretty amazing that this is working as well as it is. And we've only had a couple of minor problems so far. All right, so there's no lever to raise the arm, so we'll just have to do it manually. Put that back down, lock that in place. All right, so now let's pop in this mini CD and see if there's any chance of this thing actually working with Windows 10. I'm guessing, again, not. But at least we do have the driver software, so if we need to pull out an old PC, we can do that. So we'll pop this guy into my computer here. All right, so apparently there is 2.65 megabytes of data on this CD, and the CD is labeled Audacity. Let's just explore this before we open it. All right, so yeah, we have Audacity, an auto run, and yeah, it's just a little under 2.5 megabytes worth of data. It's not very much on here. Let's see if we can actually install this version of Audacity. I don't know if I have a later version on here or not. I might. I do not. Okay, that's good. So this is installing Audacity 1.2.6. Okay. All right, so I unplugged the turntable here, and let's open up Device Manager and see if we get anything when I plug it in. We do, setting up a USB microphone. Okay, so it shows up as a microphone. Very interesting. There it is there. All right, so that's good. That means that we're connected to the system. So let's open up Audacity. Let's get that user guide back out. Let's see if we can actually follow along on Windows 10 with what it says to do. I had figured they would have had their own program, and Audacity was using to maybe help reduce some of the noise on the audio, but it seems like they're just using Audacity. All right. So we've got here, record your vinyl to your Windows PC. Setup, connect the USB cable with your turntable and your computer. No extra driver is required. Then it says to install Audacity. Run the Audacity program. Playback control toolbar. So it gives a list of all of the buttons in Audacity up there. Playing your record. Play the record you want to record by following the procedure described in the section Listening to a Record. Okay, well, we got that figured out on our own. Recording. Select the record button to start recording while your record is playing. Now, how do I select which device I'm recording from? Because I have my headset connected, which also has a microphone, my webcam, which has a microphone. And if I just hit record, all right, it's getting nothing. Let's play the record and see if we get some lines in here. We do. Okay. So let's stop that. Stop this. Can we trim this? Yes, we can. Well, that's interesting. It didn't use either of my microphones. I wonder what happens if I disconnect the turntable and then use Audacity. Let's just save this first, or export it as MP3. Call this test music. I must contain lame ENC DLL separately by downloading. Well, actually, I think. Okay, so what it's saying is that Audacity doesn't export MP3 files directly, but uses the freely available lame library to handle MP3 file encoding. You must obtain lame_enc.dll separately. We're looking at the CD that came with it. I think I saw that on there. Yep, it is right here. So we copy that and we go to Program Files, x86, Audacity. Let's just pop it in here. All right, and then we can locate it. Let's see, Program Files, x86, Audacity. See. All right. We can give all the MP3 tags. Title, just call it test. Genre, classical. There's no classical. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. We'll start typing. Nope, doesn't work. Christian gangsta rap. I don't know that I have too many Christian gangster rap songs. All right, so let me switch my output to be my speakers instead of my headset. And let's open up that MP3. Ooh, it's really scratchy. Okay, that works. Now just to play around a little bit, let's disconnect the turntable. Let's close Audacity. No, we don't need to save changes. Open up Audacity, hit record. Okay, I'm seeing something happen. Yeah, so it's recording off my microphone now. Okay. Is it this one? Or is it this one? It's this one. Interesting. So somehow it knows to use this microphone and not this microphone. And I imagine there's a way to control that. But it doesn't matter for today. I was just curious to try that out. So what I'd like to do now is delete this. Let's hit record. And let's record this entire record to an MP3. All right, and I'm just going to let that go. Alright, so there's no auto stop and auto return on this record player, obviously, because it's really cheap. It's not motorized, so it can't pick up and set itself back down. So you gotta be careful, I guess, when it's done to make sure you stop it in time. Alright, well, we recorded that entire track. I'll turn it into an MP3 and post it in the description of this video if you want to download it. Now, this particular record is pretty dirty, it's pretty scratched. So there's a lot of hissing and popping, but I guess that's to be expected. And we'll find out if this was actually being actively enforced on YouTube. I'll put a note in the description if I get a strike for this, I guess. So I did want to try it out with something a little newer too. I am a child of the 80s and 90s, and so Smashing Pumpkins are my jam. So I picked this up at Target the other day, and look at how cool these are. Smashing Pumpkins' greatest hits, yeah. So I'm not going to play more than a second or two of this on the video, because I know this one will be actively copyright striked. Let's just skip here to this track and see what we have. Well, that works too. So, I think the next thing we need to do then is get this guy back in the shop and let's fix the speaker. Let's get this cover reattached. I don't know about the spring mechanism. I think it's probably not going to work. I was looking at the place. Well, I'll show you when we get in the shop. Let's cut over to that. All right, so I've got the turntable here with the lid. I've got the speaker, the 2 screws. I've got my hot glue gun and my soldering iron. So let's fix this thing. Not that it's super broken, which was really surprising. So the first thing I want to look at, I think, is this latch. Well, not latch, but I think it would have been a spring to prevent the lid from opening up all the way. So the lid fits into these, there's pegs that go into these 2 holes here. And that's what will close the lid. So we do that. And then there's this thing here where it looks like there's this spring on a piece of plastic. There's this bar that plugs into here. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it's supposed to do, is just a catch. I'm not sure what the spring on the plastic does, though. It seems like with this in there, this doesn't fit, and there's not much give on that spring. Maybe it's not even supposed to be in there, although I don't know why. Interesting. So what happens if we just leave this part out, reinstall this, and then reinstall the lid. Yeah, it just comes right out. I don't know how that's supposed to work. It's not even in the pegs. Maybe this was on backwards. Maybe someone tried to fix it and put this on backwards. Actually, seems like it fits better that way. Not quite sitting in the slots perfectly, but it's close. So I'm not sure if that's even what that's supposed to be for. With this piece in there, let's try this the right way. I can't even really install it the right way. Yeah, no idea. So I'm just going to leave this out. Without seeing one of these new, how this is supposed to work, I can't quite figure it out. And again, I'm pretty sure it's just to stop this from, when it's on, you open it, stop it from opening all the way. So I'll just need to be careful when I use it. Or worst case scenario, I break the little tabs and then I don't have a lid for it, and then dust gets on it. But I don't know. I'll save this, I suppose. Could be useful for something. All right, so now we have our speaker. So let's set the lid off to the side here. We can lift the back out and then pull the front out very carefully. And we spin this around. So these are the wires I need to reconnect. This, of course, is not labeled with a plus or minus, I don't think. I see a bit of red wire sheath on this one, so I presume this is probably plus. Yeah, so I think it would have gone like this. Actually, I do see a little plus icon on there, I think. All right. So let's strip these off a little bit. Okay. And then we'll tin those up with the soldering iron. All right. And I'll just put a little more solder on the speaker here itself. All right, so let's use my little holder here. So we'll do red to this side. All right, we'll do black to this side. Yeah, they really just hot glued it in there. So we will do the same. Got my hot glue gun here. You can't really see what I'm doing. It's just hot glued. I don't think it's too important. And they've got it just on the edges. All right. I'll give that a minute to dry, to harden. All right. So I think that's it for repairs. So yeah, this seems like a pretty cheaply made device, but it's, I guess, still pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. So it shows up to the computer as just a USB microphone. So there's no special, like, weird drivers you need that only worked on Windows 98. You should be able to plug this into basically any system made in the past, 30 years that has USB. When did USB come out? Has it been 30 years? I know in the box it said it was USB 2.0, backwards compatible to USB 1.1. So I guess anything with USB 1.1 running an OS that supports it, this thing should just work. It's just a USB microphone as far as the computer is concerned, which is oddly enough really smart engineering. Usually these kind of companies cheap out on that kind of stuff, and they'll have proprietary drivers, and software will do all the hardware control. Kind of like Win modems, where sure there was some hardware that lets you get a phone line connected, but all of the real work was done on the CPU through software. Here they're doing the work to emulate a USB microphone. I don't know how much work that is to make that. I mean, there's not a lot of electronics on here. So if I lift this up, you can see it just... So there's one little IC on that board. It's probably an amplifier. Then up here we have one IC and some capacitors, resistors, a crystal probably. Yeah, there's not really much going on. Well, it's actually pretty good design. I guess that's what happens when you take, 80, 90-year-old tech and build something modern for it. So let's see if my speaker is in there tightly. It is. That's not going anywhere. So let's reinstall this. Drop this back down. Now I can reinstall the two screws that hold everything together. So, yeah, I don't know how much this thing costs new. I did see that when I searched, I saw an Amazon listing for it that was like $40. But when I clicked through, it said not available. So I don't know if that was the used price, a clearance price. I'm not sure what the original MSRP of this thing was. But it can't have been very expensive. But it does work exactly as advertised. So I left that part out. We'll reconnect the lid here. Yeah, and that's really it. See if I do that. Oh no, it still has a catch right here. Yeah, on all these. So I really have no idea what that black spring would have been for. Does it? Maybe it fits in now. It's quite a space there. No. It's got to be something to do with like the speed at which this opens, so it doesn't slam shut, maybe, or. It definitely isn't going to go back any further. Yeah, no idea. I don't think it's important. We're just going to leave it off. So, let's go hook it back up to the computer because the repair is done. Quite simple. Yeah, so again, it's just this simple USB cable for power and data. And you can run it standalone. You don't need to have it connected to a machine that can record from it. All right, so I've got my Smashing Pumpkins record in here. Speakers are both hooked up. Let's test to see if they both work. And we'll turn that down before I get a copyright strike. And yes, I can hear sound out of both of these now. So that's fixed. So I'd say this machine is now 100% functional. So I did some more testing with the recording quality. So with this brand new vinyl, Smashing Pumpkins Greatest Hits, which I can't play on video for more than a second or two, it sounds really good, both through the speakers and through the recording. And of course, the Chicago Symphony playing Brahms Concerto No. 2 that I got at Goodwill. It's from 1958. Well, at least that's the copyright date. This vinyl has seen... I guess we don't call them vinyls. We call them records. Like, a collection of them is vinyl, but a single solitary record is a record. If you call them vinyls, I think that's wrong. But yeah, I can see lots of scratches in it, grooves, probably just dirt, things like that. So it's got the charm of the hisses and the pops that I think does give some endearing qualities to records, but the recording is honestly quite terrible from this one, just because of the shape of the record. The recording from this one sounds really good, and these look way cooler too. All right, so let's pop this on. Oh, and when I move it around, I've been using the stylus guard just in case. But yeah, like I said, super simple. There's no automatic moving of the needle. You pick it up, it starts spinning. Yeah, like you can see here, it records just fine. It does everything it's supposed to. It's got that one weird part that I can't figure out. And I forget what I paid. I think it was like, what, $5 I said? Something like that. What a neat little machine. Now again, in 2025, it probably has almost no utility whatsoever. If I wanted to listen to my new Smashing Pumpkins albums, I could get like a nice hi-fi system, or even a low-end hi-fi system. Just something to play vinyl, collective vinyl, and it would work great. Now this can do it. It's got the audio out, and I think the sound quality seems like it's just fine. And this has the added bonus of being able to plug into a computer through USB, which is cool. But again, like, why is anyone in 2025 turning vinyl into MP3s? This was a 15, 20 year ago problem that this thing solved, and I'm sure this thing did a really good job with it. Looking at the reviews on Amazon, it's got a lot of really good reviews, and then a handful of really terrible reviews saying that it didn't work out of the box or it failed right away. So I think it's just because it was cheaply made. Like, either it worked and it worked great and it ran forever, or you got a piece of crap, poorly put together one that just never worked. Luckily, this one seems to work, so I am happy to have it. Fun little machine. Obviously, the record sticks out on the back, the side, and the front because it's compact, much compactor than the record itself. So anyway, this is a fun little video to make. I got this thing just to play around with, and I got this album because I like Smashing Pumpkins, and I got these albums because I was hoping that I wouldn't get a copyright strike. So I guess we'll find out. But like I said, yeah, I did record this whole thing, at least the first track. So I'll post a link to this in the description if you wanted to download a Chicago Symphony rendition of Brahms Concerto No. 2 in B-flat, Opus 83 from 1958. All right, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next video for some more retro computing fun.
Hi guys, make sure to like and subscribe and watch more of our videos later.